facing LeBron and the Lakers later this summer?
Yeah, so LeBron has 1 year left on his contract. He has the option to extend, but he can't extend they can't even discuss it at all until August. So it's not an issue for the next 6 weeks. At that time, he is eligible to sign a 2-year extension, which can be 1 guaranteed and 1 player option, which is the route I believe he would go. Obviously, I've checked in on this, and the answer I've gotten back is no decisions have been made. And that's a reasonable answer. Now, I will say to you that I don't think LeBron wants to leave the Lakers. I think he's committed to being there. I think he gets frustrated at times, and certainly with the roster construction and moves over the last year, he hadn't liked it. But I don't think he's really looking to leave. Having said that, if he does not extend, which he could not extend for a number of reasons, we're going to have the beginning of a stress point, and we're going to be watching the Lakers very closely.
Wow. I mean, just the possibility of it is amazing. So, RC, are we living in a world, do you think, in which LeBron James leaves the Lakers sooner rather than later?
Well, here's the thing. We've lived in many worlds where LeBron James has left teams, right? We've seen it in Cleveland twice. We saw it in Miami. So from that standpoint, we know that LeBron will make decisions to pack up his bags and go play elsewhere. But I do believe that Los Angeles is the place for him. I believe he moved his family out there. His kids are thriving there. All of his businesses are thriving. And many times when we talked about his move to LA, it wasn't just about basketball, even though they won a championship in the bubble. So to me, I believe he stays in LA. I believe LeBron James wants to be a Laker. I think he wants to be in Los Angeles. And he has a team that's willing to work with him, that's willing to listen to him when it comes to which guys he wants on the team. Now, they're strapped for cash right now. They don't have a ton of cap space, and they need to make some moves now under new head coach Darvin Ham. But I believe LeBron is a Laker until he retires or until he's trying to get Bronny in the league on his team.
Yeah, and that would be interesting, too. He talked about that, remember, not long ago. Do you think there's a chance that he could actually leave him?
You know what? When it comes down to LeBron, right, his thing is striving for greatness and continue to add to his legacy. And if he don't see a team, organization doing the same thing, striving for greatness, LeBron James don't have a problem with leaving and relocating. I think when you think about LeBron at this point in his career, right, we keep saying, everything is icing on the cake, and rightfully so, but he doesn't look at it that way. LeBron James still feels like he's a young buck in this league. He feels like that he has a lot more to offer, and we heard him say, hey, I want to play with Bronny. He still has that, what is it, Wendy, 40,000 square foot house down there in Akron, Ohio. So, look, let's not act like he's just committed and in bed with the Lakers, because it's not that, right? He has already delivered a championship there. He has nothing else to prove.
So what do you think they need to do to get – oh, go ahead, Wendy, real quick.
I will just point out, if you want to have a conspiracy theory – watch the Cavs' moves over the next couple of weeks. They are going to extend Darius Garland, their all-star point guard. That is going to happen. But they have a couple of other moves that they can do that would potentially eat away their cap space for next year, which is what I would think that they would do as a young team. They should never be a free agent player. But if the Cavs do not retain Colin Sexton, and they do not extend Karis LeVert, which is 2 things on their menu of options, and they leave open their cap space in 2024 or 2023, it's interesting food for thought. Just keep an eye on that.
I love that conspiracy theory. I love it. All right, so real quick, you said LeBron strives for greatness, still sees himself as a young buck. So what do they need to do in L.A. to help him achieve that greatness?
Need to find a way to get Kyrie Irving. Need to find a way to land Kyrie Irving. And I'm being serious. We talk about Kyrie Irving, and rightfully so, because our opinion changed based on facts. And the fact is that since he's left LeBron James, he has not been the Kyrie Irving that we seen in the Cleveland Cavaliers jersey. Look, when him and LeBron James are on the floor together when they was in Cleveland in the playoffs, 39-13. He played his most consistent, elite basketball alongside LeBron James. If LeBron James is trying to win another championship, Kyrie Irving is the guy that he needs to pair along with Anthony Davis to deliver another title with the Lakers.
Just a mere thought of that possibility leaves your head spinning. Well, coming up, We'll let you marinate.
Time when people attack Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant attacked those people. At what point are you going to hold him accountable and say, hey, bro, hey, listen, I'm tired of it. I love you.
But KP,
but when are you going to provide for me what I need you to provide and have my back?
Go ahead, RC.
But I'm saying, but Kendrick, you don't know if Kevin Durant is doing that behind the scenes. And now, I don't know if he is either, but he's not supposed to come out on a podcast and say I'm holding Kyrie accountable. He's not supposed to come out on a podcast and talk about Kyrie Irving's business. You know that as well as I know that. KP, this is how it works, and you from a place that's just like from a place like that where I'm from. I'm with you when you right, and I'm with you when you wrong in public. Now, if he feels that Kyrie is doing some things or he wants Kyrie to come back, you have that conversation with Kyrie. But you certainly don't come out on a podcast and voice that publicly, because now it messes up the situation even more.
I didn't say you had to come out publicly. But when you look at Kyrie actions, are you going to sit up here and tell me that Kevin Durant has been holding Kyrie Irving accountable? Or see, you have kids. If your kids and you're going to somebody else's house for a kickback or a family gathering, and your kids are going to these people's houses and destroying these people's houses, jumping on couches and things to that nature, what those people going to say? No, what are these people going to say? They're going to say, you know what? RC is not doing a great job at home disciplining their kids. But if your kids go to their house and they're sitting down and they're being polite and they're saying, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, and those people are saying, oh, they're just some sweet babies, then guess what? Those people are going to say, Ryan Clark is doing an excellent job at his house.
That's not the same thing.
It is the same
not
thing.
the same thing, KP.
It is the same thing.
He says that because his kids are always the sweet ones, right? RC, I bet. Maybe not. All right, hey, but Wendy, this brings up a really good point, though. Really quick, producers. I know we want to move on, but I just have to say, we're talking about accountability, and I wonder if there's still interest among all these teams in Kyrie, because one of the biggest things here is it's hard to hold him accountable. He's just a different dude, Wendy. He's a guy who kind of marches to the beat of his own drummer. So when these other teams are looking at him, even if he does opt out, is he going to be the kind of player, even for $6 million, that they want to bring in, given the history and everything else?
For $6 million, the Lakers would crawl over glass to get him, for sure. For a $200 million contract extension, where you have to give him all of that money and all of that trust, no, that is a much smaller list. But the list does exist. And something happened last night that I found, probably to me, the biggest story of last night, other than the change in the #1 pick expected, is what the New York Knicks did in relation to their chances with Kyrie Irving. 24 hours ago, I was on here saying, I'm not seeing the Knicks doing anything that indicates they're interested in Kyrie. Well, that changed. Last night, the Knicks traded out of the lottery, not out of the 27th pick. The Knicks traded out of the lottery and picked up 3 first-round picks in doing so, and completely maneuvered with 3 trades in about 15 minutes to begin to clear salary cap space. And the Knicks, as we sit here today, have about $20 million in salary cap space they didn't have yesterday, and they now have, believe it or not, 8 first-round draft picks that they are able to trade to either clear more space or use in trades for players. The situation that we believe is their #1 priority is Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson and the Knicks are in a free agent situation like I've never seen in my career, because his father is now on the Knicks coaching staff. The president of the Knicks held him as a baby. And the son of the president of the Knicks, Leon Rose's son, Sam, is one of Jalen Brunson's agents, and he is an unrestricted free agent. I promise you, the Knicks are more aware of Jalen Brunson's intentions than any free agent in any team in the history of free agency. There's no way that they don't know. So why are they clearing this cap space? Are they clearing this cap space because they know that they're going to be able to get Jalen Brunson? Or are they clearing this cap space because Kyrie Irving has suddenly become potentially available? And I would not prioritize Kyrie Irving if I were the Knicks, and I'm not saying that the Knicks are doing that. When you look at the Knicks' moves last night, Kyrie Irving went from a, well, maybe, I guess, we could talk about it, to a viable option if they want to go that route. Kyrie now has an option that if he were to opt out of his contract, the Knicks, without too much work, could open up a cap space to sign him. They also could do it for Jalen Brunson. So the big development in the Kyrie Irving sweepstakes yesterday wasn't this list that Woj got. I mean, it was very good reporting and certainly was fascinating. A team actually started making moves that could potentially get Kyrie Irving in New York with